Good evening. Here we are, guys, finally connected. Oh, goodness gracious, what a week. What a weekend. I hope you guys all have had an amazing week. Hopefully you all had a wonderful, restorative Labor Day weekend. And here we are on Monday. Typically we do these lives on Sunday, but we're going to do it tonight. It's been quite the busy week, so I'm going to just kind of finish setting up here as you guys are jumping on. But thank you guys so much for joining once again. I am so grateful to share my evenings with you every chance I get. I'm finally joining you guys from my new studio space. So it's quite cozy up here in the attic. This is the space that I've been working on for a few weeks. Just moved in this past week. It's been a really exhausting week, but I'm so grateful to be here and finally at least have all my stuff under one roof. So it turns out that moving is actually quite a traumatic experience. It's exhausting, but it's really interesting. You really, see how people love and care for you. They show up for you, and it's quite humbling. So, hi guys, I see you jumping on. Hi, beautiful soul. Hi, Mom. I'm really excited about tonight's topic, and it's something that I've talked about before, but every time I channel, I approach, or I should say I achieve new epiphanies. Every time I channel, I always hold space for increased spaciousness, awareness, expandedness, and I always trust and believe that I'm guided to the right materials that I need to expand my own consciousness to be able to share with you guys. So I'm really grateful to be here tonight and talk to you about something that's been coming up a lot lately, the death. Hey, Amanda, it's good to see you. I want to talk, we're going to get into talking tonight about the death and rebirth cycle in life. So, a lot of times we think there's the cracking open, there's rebirth, renewal. And what happens in that belief is we begin to oscillate in that interval between death and rebirth. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how to not get stuck or just oscillate in between the death and rebirth cycle. But first, before I get any further, I just want to hold space to invite you guys in a little bit more. Can you guys hear me okay? If you can, just give me a thumbs up. Hi, Jay. I was going to go live last night, but I was absolutely exhausted and decided to cancel. I gave myself the time and space to just relax. So here we are tonight. And I'm really grateful that you're sharing your evening with me. Okay, good. You can hear me good. Awesome. We have Benny joining us too, by the way. Say hi, Benny. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, a lot of people were finding yesterday was very dense and heavy for a lot of people, myself included. So we're going to dive in to talking about death and rebirth. Before we do that, I want to give you guys a quick update about the Sedona retreat. Even just this evening, I just about an hour ago was getting messages through my website. It is not too late to join. It is not too late to join. If this is something that is calling to your heart to experience expansion, to experience transparency, personal growth and development, excitement, joy, whatever it is that you're holding space for yourself, this is the place. If you are feeling called to join us at the retreat, there is still space to sign up. There's still time to sign up. The retreat is October 22nd through the 24th. And we are gathering the details. We are doing our best to be in full compliance with the state of Arizona when it comes to COVID. So we've had to make some changes. And that means changing the we had communal lodging set up. We had to make some changes to that based on the request of our community. Now, that was a big deal. I completely honor what you guys want, what you wish for. And in this retreat space, I recognized that communal lodging was a little uncomfortable and creating a lot of uncertainty. So we did make changes because of that, based on your requests. So with that being said, we do have some time. We do have some space available that is set aside at a resort, Poco Diablo Resort, there in Sedona. So these are details that we're still working on, that we've got finalized this evening. And what we will do is give you a link that gives you access to book a space for yourself. Because again, before we were able to provide communal lodging, that is changing. But we still can offer you a discount and some local lodging. And I'll get into the details of that directly with the registrants. I don't want to take up all the time and space here, but if you are interested, if you are excited to join us in Sedona, there is still time to sign up, and there is still space available. And we will be sending you the details directly. We will be doing everything from workshops, live channeling Erik, of course. You guys love talking to Erik, and he is such a grounded guide for you guys. He is such a grounded guide for myself as well. He really does come in and offer such clarity and such intensity. So I will certainly be holding space for channeling freestyle for you guys, answering your questions, channeling your loved ones. Also, some workshop style stuff to foster your personal growth. And as promised, a cacao ceremony, an ecstatic dance session, which should be a ton of fun, and a traditional Native American sweat lodge experience. So these are things that we know you may not have access to otherwise, like outside of this retreat. So we want to make sure we give you the full Sedona experience and a full experience to really integrate and embody what we share. This is a space that's completely shareable, so we look really forward to sharing information with you. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Jamie. So good to see you here. Chrissy, can you channel Erik and ask who my twin flame is? We'll get to that in a moment, Chrissy. Hi, Kathy. Tonight, I want to move on to the topic. So let me wrap the Sedona information by saying, if you have questions, if you're interested, reach out on my website, kimberly-ray.com, send me a quick email, and in the subject title, put Sedona Retreat, and let me know what your questions are. I want to help you understand this fully, and I'll give you all the details there. So I look so forward to seeing you in Sedona. I look so forward to introducing you to the land if this is your first time there, and watching and witnessing your experience in this incredible place. So it is a place that has made a home in my heart, and this is actually the 20th year that I've gone. So I am so elated to be in that space. All right. I see you. Hi, Joseph. So I want to get on to tonight's topic. This is something that keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. And I'm even finding it in other ways. So when I begin to see other resources of information point to the same messaging, I'm like, okay, time to listen, time to pay attention here and share. When we hold space for things and we share, we cause an effect. So this is where I want to share information with you without telling you what to do with it. That's up to you. How you employ this information is completely in your free will. So I want to talk about what happens when we oscillate between the death and rebirth cycle, or going through that cycle. We when we're in the death and rebirth cycle, we oscillate between the interval, really. We're never really in one or the other. I know you're going, wait, what? What? I had this experience and I felt completely reborn and XYZ. But what I've been integrating in my recent channeling, as you guys know, you've heard me talk about a book that I'm writing called Transparent, teaching you all about transparency based on the request of Yeshua. When I had a dream, Yeshua came in and asked me to write a book and teach about transparency based on channeling with him. A big part of course, achieving the state of transparency is basically the same thing as achieving the state of enlightenment, Satori, sudden enlightenment. What happens when we become enlightened, when we come into the space of bliss consciousness, witness consciousness, pure enlightenment, we no longer need the death and rebirth cycle to know ourselves or to know how we're related to our environment. So rebirth isn't really rebirth of anything but just repeating old habits in a new way. So, and it might look, flashy and shiny and sparkly and new at the beginning, but as we get further into that reborn reality, we realize we're repeating the same patterns. Enlightenment doesn't need the patterning to be. An enlightened soul, enlightened being, doesn't need that patterning to be in that state of bliss consciousness or witness consciousness. So, and this is very relative to Chrissy's question, twin flame. Twin flame is all about death and rebirth cycles. There's a lot of falling out, breaking up and making up, breaking up and making up. That's what twin flames do. Break up, make up, break up, make up, death and rebirth. Soulmate is much different. Soulmate is a relationship in a shared space where the death and rebirth cycle do not need to be at play in order to have connectivity and relativity. So look at the difference here. One is transparent, one is shareable, one is very finite and not transparent at all. So when we employ the death and rebirth cycle, we can become our own worst enemy in that. We can sabotage our own construct, break it apart in order to build newer, bigger, better. Sometimes we realize we're doing it, sometimes we don't. But it's very blended in the conscious and subconscious mind. Sometimes we know we're destroying something so that something better can come in. Other times we're not aware. We're just destructive. Now, or in self-sabotage. The rebirth, and especially, have you known yourself or have you known someone to project the idea of rebirth through an experience like a retreat? The goal in the retreat or any experience isn't to be reborn through it, because you're just creating an attachment. You're just creating deeper karma. But rather achieving Satori, sudden enlightenment, that liberates you from all things, where you no longer need identity, personality traits, a character to uphold, to have awareness, and relativity and connectivity. So, hello, moth. When we come into Satori, the sudden enlightenment, we not only watch patterns fade and dissolve and disintegrate, certain relationships will as well, because we are completely liberated from the awareness within us, the essence within us that needs patterning to know itself. Ego needs the pattern to know itself. Essence does not. There's obviously a big difference here. So I want to bring you back to this question and kind of bring you to the other side of it. Have you known yourself to project renewal or rebirth through an experience? Of course, we all have. And once I go to that retreat, I'm going to feel so much better. I'm going to be reborn. That might be true, but the goal is enlightenment, not repatterning. So we're not looking to create the death and rebirth cycle. This is not a rebirth retreat. This is a Satori retreat, sudden enlightenment. We want to bring you into bliss consciousness, where you completely liberate your essence from attachment, identity, because as you'll witness, that identity that's created along the way becomes a character, and that character becomes a chore to uphold. And oh my gosh, everybody knows me as this character, so now all of a sudden I'm inauthentic to myself to be that character. So we just live to meet everybody else's expectations of that character then, rather than truth to ourselves. So that's just one little fractal of what I want to talk about tonight, but we'll see how far we get into this. That's right. Java Cafe. Made sense when I read the cafe part. Java Cafe, live your truth. Exactly. That way, we don't go into creating a dual self to make others happy and then betraying ourselves. That's, again, the death and rebirth. And we'll notice another way we experience this is through emptiness. We go to where we feel completely empty. We feel like the world is falling down on us, crashing in on us. And then we have to find ways to rebuild. And how hard does that feel when we feel this big? It feels impossible. It feels beyond our capacity. But when we allow our essence to be liberated of that death and rebirth cycle and just purely enlightened, you maintain connectivity to all that is. So you don't get smashed down to that empty little spot where you feel like there's no connectivity, there's nothingness, there's just emptiness. Not true. There's much more to you than that. And I invite you to continually welcome and invite in your spaciousness, your dynamism, so that we don't get stuck or feeling heavy trying to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Okay, so Robin, we would love to have you at the retreat. Okay, so I want to go into your questions here. Hi, Cord. I haven't seen your name here before. Hopefully you're new. That would be awesome to say welcome. And welcome to those of you. Hi, Kevin. It's good to see you on here. Yes, okay. I don't know what that means, Mom. You're getting spotted blackouts. I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? Anyways, so I want to go into answering your questions and channeling for you. Whatever questions you have, whether it is personal growth, spiritual experience, have you had a certain experience that you want further insight on? Or have you witnessed your own growth? Or are you wanting to connect with a loved one? I'm here to hold space for you and answer your questions and share as much as possible. I do want to address, I had a question earlier from, I believe it was from Amber, and she wanted me to talk about the chakras. So I will go over that a little bit here. And if you have questions further about the chakras, throw them my way. So I want you guys to think about the chakras, or we could also call them the meridians, as they all are their own infinite reality, but they're not separate from each other. They are infinite realities. So there's infinite possibility among, or I should say within each one. So an interesting thing came in earlier today when I was channeling. Our chakras get tired if we're not grounded. So think about yourself for a moment like a battery. If you get the right charge and you have the proper ground, you complete the circuit properly and energy flows just fine. If you don't have the right ground, you're going to blow a fuse or you don't get the right charge. So when it comes to chakras, if you are feeling tired in a certain area, lack of connection, lack of presence, then this is what Spirit said to do. It was quite interesting. Visualize your chakra, whether, let's say you're working on your heart chakra. Visualize your heart chakra. And then if you're sensing and feeling that it feels tired, that it feels sluggish, heavy, whatever it is, visualize a black hole over top of your heart chakra. Now your mind's probably going, well, why a black hole? What am I supposed to do with it? What is it supposed to do? What do you feel that it does? The reason why I'm calling you to visualize a black hole over your chakra is because you're creating space, you're creating vastness. And when you allow that black hole, so to speak, to be the center of that meridian, you're charging it, you're giving it that sort of vacuum effect so that you can magnetize energy into this region. You're directing the flow of energy. So you're literally just pointing your consciousness in the chakra, putting the black hole over it to magnetize the energy that's happening here. And it's the dodecahedron effect, where as it gets stronger, as the energy compounds within itself and expands, collapses, it creates that. It's the further as it expands, it collapses, and it uses its momentum against itself to continue to expand. And you do that until you feel fulfilled, connected, and then visualize yourself closing the black hole. So the black hole that I'm referring to is the 0 point of consciousness. It's 0 point of reality, 0 point of awareness, whatever you want to call it. But Erik has taught me it's the 0 point of consciousness, which means complete transparency. So there's nothing defined here, which means everything exists here. Because the moment you define something, the opposite space there becomes that much less. It becomes limited, right? It becomes smaller. So hope that makes sense. Getting a little deep here into some quantum physics and quantum mechanics here. But when you put your mind and your intent on your chakras, on your meridians, not only can you magnetize the energy here, you connect them, but you amplify and enrich your own personal endurance, your own physical energy. Because you're connecting to source, you're connecting to a place of complete neutrality where there's no charge in any direction. So there's endless energy. It's free energy. So look it up. Google free energy. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, Google it and you'll see. You'll be able to read about it. Okay. So I want to get into your questions. So let's see. Here we go. Is my intuition about my husband accurate? This is Julie Olson. So first, Julie, I'm going to call you to recognize how you're searching for external validation here. It's easy to want to do that. Clarity with intuition becomes fogged when we seek external validation. So be very mindful of that. If you're feeling something, it's for a reason. Trust that feeling. The key is feeling with your heart, not your head. The head, and this is also something that came through earlier today that I think was really, really interesting. I want you guys to take a note on this and think about this later. That when you operate from the heart, from the intuition, the intuitive mind, and create from the intuitive self, you are interacting with your environment. Interacting. When we create, respond, or react, think with our rational mind, when we're centered in our awareness through the rational mind, we are reacting to our life, to our reality. There's no interaction. There's no transacting, which means we're completely disempowered. So when we interact, when we stay heart-centered in our intentions, we are transacting with the universe. We are playing a part, playing a role. We're interactive. We're participating. When we're in the rational mind identified state of awareness, that's when we become completely disempowered. Our creative capabilities are gone, and all we can do is react. So look around in your life and also be aware of, and Julie, this is kind of touching on your question here with, is your intuition correct about your husband? Don't go into trying to create through the mind and rationalize, make it make sense, because then you will step out of awareness. You'll step out of expanded consciousness, and the rational mind will just make a muck out of what once was clarity. Okay, let's see. Now, hi, Sherry. It's good to see you. Interesting question here. This is Solitary Mystic. What is my spiritual gift? Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Good, Julie. I'm glad that makes sense. All right. Solitary Mystic. Actually, before we move on, there was something that they wanted me to talk about with, oh, that was for Chrissy. Well, Chrissy, I'll come back to your question in just a second. Okay, Solitary Mystic, Tanya, spiritual gift I'm seeing is, just to be very direct, I'm seeing a lot of energy flow from your hands. So, like moving energy, but that also comes with cognizant capabilities. So being able to be claircognizant means just natural knowing, just having natural knowing of energy, natural understanding of how energy works. And because I see energy, a lot of energy and colors coming from your hands, to me, that's my symbol for you know how to move energy. So trust what comes to you intuitively with moving energy with your hands. Now that can come in the form of Reiki, that can come in the form of massage, however you choose to work with energy in your spiritual gift. As you integrate and integrate and trust, I'm seeing you just kind of pulling that through and sharing it, you will expand your awareness into clairaudience. So you'll begin to hear information as well. So that's for Tanya, hope I say your name correctly. Solitary Mystic. I feel energy with my hands. That makes sense, because that's what I see. So trust what you feel with your hands, and also know that you're very plugged in a way that you can move energy with your hands. So it's, I don't necessarily love the word healer. Everybody is their own healer, but you can move energy and channel and shift energy in a way that is therapeutic and healing for others. They have to receive it though. So that's where they become their own healer. So I hope that helps you, Tanya. Let's see here. Okay. I wanted to go back to Chrissy. I promised I would answer your question. Chrissy Rose, where was your question? That's what it was. Chrissy, so going back to talking about the twin flame concept, I want to address how the question is phrased here. Can you channel Erik and ask who my twin flame is? Spirit does not necessarily give that information, and here's why. Because that will majorly cross your free will, and that becomes my karma. So it's not what, it doesn't matter who, and I know that probably sounds like crazy, but just hold on. The whole twin flame idea, I would encourage you to invite you into the space of soulmate, becoming your own soulmate, and recognizing how shareable that is in that space versus twin flame. Twin flame, I mean, unless that's what you want to learn from, it's really up to you as far as what you manifest. Twin flame is more about, like I said, the death and rebirth cycle. The give and take cycle, the I need a partner to complete me belief. And so that's why the death and rebirth, because nobody can really complete you but you. And the moment we externalize that and make that our partner's responsibility is the moment we manipulate ourselves. So, and then of course, lots of this happens. So practice, Chrissy, practice integrating the fulfillment within yourself, being your own best friend, being your own best lover, loving yourself completely, so that becomes something that you can share in the space of a relationship. And then you'll manifest the soulmate with the relationship with integrity and longevity. But Spirit won't say, hey, Joshua is your twin flame and you'll be meeting him on October 17th, because that would severely cross your free will. And then you'll create an attachment. You'll be looking for it, waiting for it. You'll change your whole life to match that. And that's what I mean by crossing your free will. You'll no longer be free in your being. You'll be looking for that reality. And then that becomes my karma, as well as spirit. So let's see here. Okay, Jamie S. says, how can I get there when it comes to the enlightenment? Well, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one to, How do you get to enlightenment? I would say radical unbecoming. Let that sit with you. Sorry, my dog is snoring. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's snoring. Radical unbecoming subject to the construct of society, societal beliefs, and the way society is moving as a whole. Unbecoming when it comes to the things you've told yourself as far as who you are, what you are, unbecoming all of that. Becoming completely transparent so that no label can actually stick to you. The moment you have a label is the moment you have a job, a character to upkeep. So I invite you into the space of complete transparency, radical unbecoming of what you've been told you are, what you believe you are. And also can you get into the space, even just for a nanosecond, of complete eradication of the obsessiveness with doing? Can you come into the realization that there's nothing to do on this earth? Now, I know you're going, wait, what? I have a job to do. I have a purpose to fulfill. Is your purpose not already being fulfilled through your beingness? Of course it is. What you do just becomes your mission. Your purpose is not your doing, but your being. So radical unbecoming, complete transparency, hopefully will deliver you into the place of Satori, sudden and light. When you realize you're not anything, so you're everything. Just like death implies life, nothing This is an interesting question. This one comes up a lot. I apologize if I have a bad internet connection, guys. I'm seeing some messaging that my internet connection is not the greatest. It's probably because I'm all the way in the attic. So this is, okay, where did that question go? I'm carrying on to this life. What are ways I, okay, let's see. It says I have an unstable internet connection. Sorry, guys. One thing that I think is really important to bring aren't really that relevant. What's relevant is the now. You can't really pick up a past life and redo it, or another life. They're all parallel, really. So there's, don't seek validation through other lives or past life experiences. It's actually quite irrelevant. The patterning can echo into other lives, and that's what we can look at. But as far as validating it from a past life, it doesn't serve you. But we can look at patterns, KS, this is for KS. We can look at patterns from other lives. We can look at patterns in this life that maybe aren't serving you in the highest. So I'm going to listen for just a second. Okay. This is for KS. The patterns that they're showing right now in your life that aren't serving you in the best is sort of like, it's like a need, it's like a dishonesty to protect people, or how do I put this into words? Like sugarcoating things, or saying or doing or sharing things to make other people feel comfortable or happy is not a pattern that's going to serve you. So let the truth be real for people, even if you think it might hurt them. Let the truth be on the table always, rather than feeling like you have to make it pretty or comfortable so that people don't experience discomfort. It's not your job to determine how people process things or what they can process. So this is for KS. I hope you're with me still. I'm not sure if you're still on, but the need to make reality softer or easier for other people is like serving them through pity, having pity on them that they might not be able to handle something, or whatever it might be. You're holding them in their small self. Even though you might see something difficult happening or hard to share, when you stay in truth and honesty and share it because you know at the end of the day their higher self can handle it, you keep them in their higher self. You address them in their higher self, versus making things nice and sweet and all butterflies and rainbows to protect them. You might actually be causing more harm than good. That's definitely a pattern that does not serve you. So I hope that helps. We all do it. We all have patterns that don't serve us because we do have association with the ego. That's why we're here in 3D. But the ego is not the enemy. That's something we have to remember. The ego is not the enemy. So you're welcome, Jamie. Okay. What will things be like when the Earth finish the ascension to 5D? How long from now will that be? Oh, thank you for the love. This is PIQU 1655. What will things be like when the Earth finish the ascension to 5D? I'm seeing, well, to answer your question, I'm seeing mobility, fluid mobility. But mobility here is applicable to just about anything and everything. Mobility through communication, mobility through transportation, mobility through accessing resources. So this ascension seems to streamline processes. seems to streamline connection, like the way we connect. And it seems like there's less doubt, more trust. So things feel much more fluid. We just have to remember to stay in integrity and in authenticity so that we don't become sort of robotic in that streamlined interaction. So thank you so much for the love, PQ 1655. How long will that be from now? That's really, it's really up to free will and how our collective creates that. So you can experience whatever you want right now. Get it? No pun intended. Right now. Right now is all we'll ever have. Right now is the only time and space we're ever going to experience. So remember, whatever you want to experience, it's not outside of you. It's not in the future. It's not far away. My dog just keeps snoring louder and louder. Benny, wake up, buddy. Jeez. Okay, can you explain light workers? Is it an energy of Christ? Energy. Sherry, great question. Let's see what Spirit says about this. Okay, so I'm seeing light workers are people who weave light into dark situations or dark circumstances or people or what have you. So not only do we know the contrast and polarity of light and dark, but there are light workers and there are dark workers. And so if we didn't have both, we wouldn't have construct. We wouldn't be able to see. We would not have evolution. We wouldn't know what to or how to navigate. Light workers are the ones that bring the light to the dark to create the construct that we can navigate through. But I have to say, light workers are just as needed as the ones that work with dark density. If we were just floating in a vastness of light, we wouldn't have foundation, we wouldn't have construct or polarity. We wouldn't have a way to evolve, nothing to create like inertia for us to grow and evolve off of. There has to be a backdrop. Like there has to be, if there's a spotlight shining just into white light, we wouldn't see the spotlight. But once we give it a backdrop, the darkness, once we give it a backdrop, we can see, we can then navigate. So I hope that makes sense. Light workers are not always just, cakes and butterflies and rainbows. And it's light workers also hold space for integrity and things that are of light energy. Is it Christ-like energy? Of course. Is it Christ consciousness? The purification I'm hearing of Christ consciousness. So is the utmost transparency. That consciousness, though, of course, it translates depending on what part of the world you're in, what culture you love and serve. But that Christ consciousness is, I guess you could say, that's the coming of Christ is through the wave of consciousness. So we employ that through the light work that we do. We're all light workers and we're all not so light workers. That's the catalyst of the ego. Like that's the pinnacle, that's the pivot point of the ego. So we're all both. There's no separation. I hope that answers your question. And I hope that makes sense. Can you guys hear him snoring? You guys, I see you guys' comments. I'm sorry. He's like super loud, but oh my goodness, he's absolutely pitiful. Must be a rough life. Okay. Yes, Laura, we do. Does speaking light language to help the collective or the person speaking light language? Thank you, Kim. Angela, interesting question. Does speaking light language help the collective? Very simply said, if your intent is to do good, then how can it be anything otherwise? To help the collective. If sharing and speaking light language is to do good or to help, how can it be anything other than that? Remember, what you say, it is so. Also, I'm being told to remind you guys that if you have faith and trust in your intentions or prayers, whatever you want to call it, then you only need to pray it once. You only need to say it once. You only need to intend it once or embody it once. Do a ritual over it or a ceremony over it once and move on. Let your faith do the work. One more thing I want to share, and then I'll get back to your questions. You guys hear I'm snoring? I'm sorry. You guys do hear him. Danny, wake up. When it comes to ritual, personal ritual and ceremony, a lot of us have prayers, chants, things that we recite out of maybe memory, out of something that's been taught to us or passed down, something that we have agreed upon as a personal truth. But I just want to invite you into the space of mindfulness of, is it something that you're safely stating, or is it something that you are employing, that you're putting to work? Because there's a big difference when we put faith to work, when we put our love to, when we let our love that we embody, when we put that to work for us and let it work for us, it actually does. Love does. So that's why I was mentioning, when you pray something, when you say something, you only need to say it once when you're in full integrity. When you're in complete trust and faith, you need only say it, be it, share it, emanate it once. And so it is. If you're in doubt, that's when we become incessant and we repeat over and over. We repeat things. We repeat because we are attached, we are obsessed, or we are repeating out of emptiness because we're not letting faith and trust do the work for us. So I think it's really important when we come into like personal chants or mantras, whatever it is, our personal prayers that we recite and practice, I think it's really beautiful to allow the integrity of our faith and trust do the work for us. But it doesn't mean we can't revisit a mantra and use it daily. It doesn't mean that we're out of integrity if we use it daily. If we use it daily to spin energy or transform energy, beautiful. Obviously, there's always energy to be transformed. Actions and interactions, daily happenings, events, bring us into that space where we need to spin the energy. Do you ever have like where you feel tired or you're just like, oh my gosh, what a day, what a heavy day. But you need to spin that energy so you go back into essence. Mantras are really great for that. So repeating a mantra doesn't mean you're out of integrity because you repeat it. When you employ faith or let faith and trust do the work for you, then all of the universe hears you. So just had to share that. You guys are so funny. Oh, my screen is skipping. I'm sorry. It's probably my service. I'm all the way in my attic, so I apologize if I don't have the greatest service. Hi, Tiffany. I see you. It's so good to see you on here. You guys are having bad reception. I'm sorry. It's blocking in and out. Goodness. Well, I guess I can't. Maybe I cannot stream live from up here. Who knows? All right. Let's see. Does your subconscious mind have anything to do with our intentions and prayers? Absolutely. Our subconscious mind is where our truth is. So this is a tough one to just say, be aware of what you dream about, because that's where you work out your subconscious. A lot of people don't have dreams or don't remember their dreams. So the subconscious is where we work out our truth. This holds our deepest truth, because as you'll notice in the subconscious, time in its relativity to space doesn't matter. So that's why when we have dreams, things are overlapping and they don't make sense. And it's like I was in a classroom and then in a grocery store, XYZ, fill in the blank. Because we are in all awareness. So time and space aren't needed. That relativity isn't needed to have construct and to have awareness. Here in the wake state, it is needed. It is needed for us to put order into our perception. But our subconscious mind definitely drives the decisions that we make. It drives our deepest truths and beliefs. And the way that you can find out about what's in your subconscious, try manual muscle testing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google manual muscle testing for subconscious beliefs, or testing the subconscious with manual muscle testing, MMT. It's quite fascinating. I've done it myself. And when you think you're stating your truth, your subconscious actually tells your truth and you're going, oh gosh, I have some work to do. So it's really, really interesting. It takes you into heart-centered awareness and really shows you what you believe versus what you think. It's really fun. It's really interesting. Really cool tool. Maybe we could do a class on that. Hi, Johnny in Ireland. Thank you so much for joining. I'm grateful that you're sharing your evening with us. Or maybe it's not evening in Ireland. What time is it there, Johnny? It is 9:30 p.m. Eastern time here. But thank you for being here. Wait, say muscles, repeat, please. So Laura, maybe you didn't hear what I was saying about the manual muscle testing. Manual muscle testing will reveal what's in your subconscious, what your actual beliefs are. And sometimes we're just waiting for that to come up into our conscious mind in order to be awakened to it. So manual muscle testing is a really fun, easy, unique way and very authentic way to reveal a truth. So it's really very telling. Hi, Eva in North Carolina. Thanks for being here. Okay, let's see. Okay. Hi, Kim. Last night after laying down to go to sleep, I had a super weird sensation of something coming into my space that was very scary with an intense wave of fear. It only lasted a few seconds. Interesting. This is a Hakmam. Okay, so this is something that we can all learn from. Spirits going like this when they do this. They're saying that this is a message that So Hakmam is asking this question and holding space for everybody to learn and grow from this question. So this is a great teachable moment. This is a great lesson because we have all been in that place where we experience fear and how that makes us feel small. When you get into that space, whether it's your own belief making you feel small or an experience or something in your external environment, practice expanding, visualize your aura expanding and expanding so much that you actually bring in that thing that was outside of you that you feel like came into your space and scared you. When you expand your aura to a degree that you can envelop that thing that was threatening you, you synthesize it. You maintain your ability to be a master of your own environment. When you do that, you stay in alignment, you stay grounded, connected, and in creativity, you continually create your experience and environment and interact with it versus reacting to it. So when you feel, again, caught in that space of your fear and it's making you feel small, Expand your aura, visualize it getting bigger and bigger and expanding it until it's enveloping that thing that you were afraid of. Because when you can do that, you bring it into your space and you synthesize it. Otherwise, the idea that we have to create separateness makes you even smaller, makes you even less capable and less dynamic. So I hope that helps. It's definitely something that Spirit has taught me to do time and time again as I've had some really interesting experiences. I know that if I get really big in my auric space, then I stay in interaction and in creation mode with my reality. So I notice how we almost want to say I stay in control. We're not really controlling anything. We're not trying to control anything. The idea is staying grounded so that we can continue to synthesize and pulse with our environment versus react. So I hope that helps you. Let's see here. Let's see. Elke says, concerning my attacking neighbors, please. So I guess you are asking for guidance about your neighbors who are attacking. So, Laura, good question. She says, what if it was evil? Evil implies goodness, does it not? Otherwise, how would we have perception of evil if we don't know holy? So recognize how the two are a pair. Even if it is evil, if you dig your heels in, ground yourself, and expand yourself to envelop that thing that you thought was evil, again, you synthesize it. So it begins to match your vibration. So this takes me back to a scalar wave. If you look up scalar wave, you'll see that there is always a positive charge and a negative charge. Neutral is in the middle. The higher frequency naturally, by law of physics, is going to cancel out and neutralize the lower frequency. So if you are encountering something evil and you stay in your place of enlightenment or highness, whatever you want to call it, you cancel out and neutralize the negativity, the evil. You synthesize once again. If you're not grounded, you'll be overtaken. You will be threatened because you're saying I'm disempowered too. So maintain that groundedness by staying present and aware, because most of the time we would want to run, right? So we don't stay present at that point. That's when we are already giving our power away. So I hope that helps a little bit. And I hope that helps you to not go to a place of fear if you sense something that doesn't feel good. I hope that it makes you dig your heels in within yourself even deeper, even stronger, so that you can continue to synthesize what's in your environment to work in your best favor. I wasn't but curious. Wow. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope that helps. You're very welcome. Cord Smith. How do I use my abilities to help other people? Awesome question, Cord. First of all, way to go for holding space for others. That's amazing. That means if you can help others, you are fulfilled within yourself. So it has become shareable. That's beautiful. Cord, one thing Spirit is saying for you is remove any sort of attachment with an outcome. Share whatever you want without any concern of the outcome. The outcome is not what you're out for. Creating an outcome is not why you're in it. Rather, you're in it to create connectivity, to share space. So Spirit's showing me you sharing your abilities to create community, connectivity, and also disarming sort of the fear, the belief, and the idea that there's, how do I put this into words? That there is separateness, that there is like, separateness is the best word I can use here. So Cord, whatever abilities you have, share your abilities without attachment to the outcome to create community. That's ultimately why you're here. Trust what you hear, trust what you feel. Yeah, doggy woke up. Oh my goodness, he's a trip. Denise, interesting question. She says, can you tell me the name of my spirit guides? I used to channel this. And ask spirit. And then the further I got along in that, you're welcome, Cord. The further I got along in channeling the names of spirit guides, spirit began to say, don't look for a name. That's just the ego looking for validation. And taking the vastness of what is and making it very finite. When you have access to infinite guides, infinite collective consciousness, to put a name on it makes it become extremely finite and small. So don't look to name your guides and your connection yet, not as you're going along and developing the connection. Establish the connection first. You can create a name if you need to have the connection, but know that it's not needed. And it can make the experience small for you. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I know we're getting well into being on here for an hour. So first I want to thank you guys so much for sharing your evening with me. If you have questions about the retreat, we have made some changes to comply with COVID restrictions. Travel, we are able to travel. Travel is a-okay. Sedona is up and running just as ever. And we have made some accommodations to comply with your requests and what the state of Arizona, just like every other state, is mandating. So with that being said, if you have questions about the retreat, please reach out. Send me an email through my website at kimberly-ray.com, and I'll be sure to answer all of your questions. I am looking so forward to this retreat because of all of the new and fun things that we're going to be doing this year. So for those of you that are coming, I can't wait to see you. For those of you that are thinking about it, let me know how I can answer your questions. And I invite you all into the space this evening. I want to take you back to what we opened with for just a moment. And step into witness mode of your life for just a moment and ask yourself if you are oscillating between that death and rebirth. Are you in the interval of a rebirth or a death cycle? Do you feel something dying or decaying slowly in your life? Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's circumstances. As that's happening, don't necessarily look for the rebirth. Don't look for something to rebirth you, to renew you. That's just a place of repatterning. Hold space for complete enlightenment. Sudden enlightenment is called Satori. And in that space, complete transparency becomes fully embodied. So as you integrate transparency, you'll notice labels, attachments falling away. Labels that you've given yourself begin to disintegrate, and you realize that there's no more work and no more need to do the work to uphold an identity. Transparency is enlightenment, complete Satori, getting rid of the death and rebirth cycle and coming into wholeness and complete fulfillment from the inside out, from essence. So I hope that lands with you in a way that changes some things in your life. Maybe you were projecting that rebirth. Experiencing something down the road was going to give you that sense of renewal. Only the now can deliver you, no matter what it is. Only the now can bring it to you, can put you there. It can make you feel it, experience it, whatever it is. So realize the transparency in that, how it doesn't need death or rebirth. There is a vast isness, beingness that courses through all of us, and it connects every single one of us to each other. So I hope that tonight's live finds its way into your life in a way that really allows expansion, growth, grounding, whatever it is. As always, I thank you guys so much for sharing your evening with me. And I encourage you to take good care of yourself. Please take good care of yourself and take care of each other. In the meantime, continue to send your suggestions my way. I love when you guys say, hey, I want you to talk about this. Well, hello from Australia. Thank you for being here. But you're welcome, Tiffany. You're welcome, Kevin. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Hippie Love. But in between now and the next live session, look at, is there somewhere in your life that you're oscillating between death and rebirth, where you're waiting for something to happen, to be renewed or reborn? Allow enlightenment, complete satori, to take over that space so that you're not always in that interval between death and rebirth. And you might find things feel much easier, and in that there's a much more intimate connection in your entire life, your entire reality. So, all right, guys, I'm going to sign off and I'm going to bed. I'm so sleepy. So I hope this live has been just as beneficial for you as it has been for me. Send your questions, your suggestions my way, and I cannot wait to see you on social media this week. Take good care, guys, and I'll see you soon. Good night, guys.